It's another beautiful day in the Pink Craft Studio. Today's craft is inspired by my favorite fruit. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a clue. It's sweet and pinkish. It's a strawberry, of course. I love strawberries because they are basically a superfruit in my mind. They can go from being great at breakfast to a tasty snack, and then they make a delicious dessert. Oh, and they're cute to boot. So today, in honor of that, we're making strawberry paperweights, to hold down all of that paperwork and give us a little inspiration while we do our schoolwork. So let's find out what all we're going to need to get this craft going. For today's craft, you're going to need to take a little craftcation outside to gather some supplies. For this, we're going to need a medium rock or two, depending on how many you want to create. You're also going to need red, green, and black paint, a cup of water, 2 paintbrushes, pencil and a marker, and a toothpick. I'm using 2 paintbrushes in this tutorial, one that's a little bit bigger and one that has a smaller point. You'll also want to make sure that you grab paper or plastic to cover your workspace while you paint. Okay, you guys, go gather your supplies so we can get our craft rocking.
Step 1, grab your rocks. Don't forget to wash off any dirt and let them dry completely before starting. Once you're sure that they are dry, decide which side is going to be the top or front of our paperweight. Now grab your red paint and using your larger brush, paint the back side of your rock. I use long strokes from top to bottom so that the paint goes on smooth. I'm going to let this dry before flipping it over and painting the other side. If you're painting multiple paperweights, go ahead and paint all of your backs. Here's a little tip. If you want to speed up the drying process, you can use a hairdryer on cool to help the paint dry faster. Once the backs are dry, it's time to turn over our rocks and paint the front. By painting the backside first, we've gotten a good feel for our paint so that we can make our fronts look perfect. Paint all of your front pieces and let dry. Don't forget the hairdryer trick on this one. Now grab your pencil or marker. I'm using a marker here so that you can see where I'm drawing. At the top of our strawberries, we're going to want to paint on green leaves. To do this, I like to draw a guide first. Think of this like you're drawing hair on your strawberry. The leaves are kind of like bangs. I like to make little points at the end of my leaves. Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be going over this with paint. It's time to get your green paint out. Since we're painting over red, we'll need to do a couple colors and coats. I'm starting with a darker green color. To get the color that I want for our base leaves, I'm mixing just a little bit of black in with my green. Now, using your small paintbrush and green paint, first outline the guide you just created with your pencil. Once you finish with that, go back through and fill the entire top with the green paint. Now we're going to let this dry. On my strawberries, I want my leaves to have a little dimension, so I'm going to put a lighter green on top of the darker color we just painted. Since I darkened up my first round of paint with black paint, this time I'll just use the original green out of the tube. Now, using the small paintbrush, you'll brush on your light green. Make sure that you leave some of the dark green showing. Now for our last step. We have to add our seeds. Grab your toothpick and your black paint. Dip your toothpick into the paint. Then, to make the seed markings, I make dash marks in a line with our paint. When you move on to the next row, I make sure that I don't put the new dash marks directly under the ones you just made. When you finish, check to see if there are any areas that you missed. Once you're done with this, you'll have a new strawberry paperweight, and all that's left to do is let the paint completely dry.
Oh my cuteness. These are the sweetest paperweights ever, and you just made it by yourself. This is such a great tutorial because you can use it to make other fun paperweights to help hold your schoolwork down. What other fruits do you think you could paint on rocks to make a paperweight? I bet you guys can think of some super fun ones. Okay, you guys, now it's your turn to share with us. Tag us with hashtag #CraftingWithCorey, and we can't wait to see your fruity fun paperweights. Don't forget, let's clean up. Make sure that you wash out your brushes so that we can use them again, and that your paints are put up properly so that they don't dry out. Then recycle your paper and plastic, and we will see you soon.